Advice so good, I might get banned. I'm only half joking about that, by the way. So this, I think I'm okay doing this because I don't think this is a bug. I think it's just something they didn't expect. Maybe a way of using these sets that the developers didn't intend. But in theory, I don't think this will get you banned. I guess check back with the channel and I'll say something if that happens. So real talk, I really did wait until a couple of days before the patch because I wanted you guys to be able to use this. We figured this out. I think it was Daedric. It was his idea originally, but we were talking with other people in the Discord. Me and him were chatting, and with all of our powers combined, but I think it was actually Daedric's original idea to do this. But I thought about it and I was like, I don't want to do this like a week and a half ahead of time because they might do something to patch it out. So I really did wait. I wanted to let everybody know so they had a couple of days to like figure it out and be able to do it. But hopefully they won't try to like patch this out before Monday. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoy. So what's the advice? Well, this applies specifically to DKs, but this does generalize. So we'll start first with DKs and why it's so broken on them. So DKs have this ultimate ability called corrosive armor, and they actually have either morph works well. Tanks usually use the other morph, but what both morphs do is they limit the amount of damage you can take per hit to 3%. So the most damage you can take from any hit, a heavy attack that would one-shot you and would do 150k or whatever, is 3%. And what that effectively means in content is that whenever you pop this, you just can't die. Like as long as you're giving yourself some sort of heal or whatever, you're just not going to be able to die because it's the big hits that really cause most of the damage. So what they've done recently with corrosive armor is that they have disabled ultimate generation whenever you actually have this up, because what has long been the thing, and this has been years, is you can basically just chain this ultimate together, either morph, and you can basically just be invulnerable and you won't die. And if you generate enough ultimate and you're in a group setting or whatever, you can just keep popping it. This can be really nice for tanks and harder content, but it can also be really broken in PvP when you literally just can't kill someone, you can't do any damage to them. And also they found that in the Endless Archive here, especially with the new DK set, the Basalt Blooded Warrior set, which gives you major heroism, that basically you generate enough ultimate while the buff is up that you can almost immediately recast it, or maybe you can immediately recast it. So instead of fixing the broken skill, corrosive armor, they instead decided to change it where you can't generate ultimate whenever the ability is active. So that means that, you know, while it's active, you can't be generating ultimate to be able to drop it again. So that does kind of eliminate it for solo content. However, with the Cryptcan investments, this One Piece Mythic, this was just complete garbage until now. And now there's this niche use for it. I'm like pretty much 100% sure was unintended. But what this allows you to do is it allows you to transfer all of the ultimate from one party to another. So what we're doing here in the background is that I am the quote-unquote tank in this situation. So we're pretending like we're in a two-man. You could also do this in PvP, by the way. But we're pretending like we're in the new Endless Archive. We're doing damage. And what happens is that Daedric here pops the ultimate. He's the DPS. So he's the one who needs the survivability. So he pops corrosive armor. And then during that time, I am using Vampire Drain to get back ultimate. I'm also using Baron's Address. And then Arcasis is what I have on. And with these sets, I actually don't know if you really need Baron's Address. That might be a little bit overkill. You might want to go with something like Bloodspawn just to, you know, for survivability or what have you, with a little bit of ulti regen as well. I would argue that is probably better in actual content, but I'm not taking damage here, so I can't use Bloodspawn. So it just wouldn't work for this example. But what's happening is that he's popping in the ultimate. I'm generating ultimate using Vampire Drain and various other things. And you see me casting other skills here. I was trying to give like a rough example of like, hey, can I keep up, you know, these general skills and produce enough ultimate to do this such that you could do it in actual content? And the answer to that is yes. So it took me a couple of tries. Basically what you want to do is that when you first go into content, you use this Cryptcan investments and it transfers all your ultimate to the other party. So when you're going into a pool, you give the DPS all of your ultimate. They can run in, pop corrosive armor, and then you generate as much ultimate as you can. You don't want to be drinking a potion at this point because Arcasis gives both parties like 45 ultimate. And so you want to wait. And then as soon as they're off, Daedric will tell me like, okay, the duration is up. So then what I do is I transfer him all of my ultimate. Then I drink a potion. You want to do that afterwards. That gives him enough ultimate. So with this, I'm pretty much consistently generating about 140, 150 ultimate, a little bit less because I'm not super efficient, but close enough. And that allows that when I transfer him all of that ultimate, and he has hardly generated any, he gets like 1 or 2 ticks of ultimate generation. Then I drink the potion, giving him another 45, and that basically allows him to instantly use this skill again. And then I've got 45 ultimate, so then I generate another about 140, 150. So we're almost at 200, which is how much corrosive armor costs. So then the next time the duration is up, I transfer him 200 ultimate. And now I'm starting back basically with 0 ultimate. He has 0 ultimate, generate about 140. By that point, with potion cooldowns and everything, I can drink another potion, and then we just rinse and repeat. After the next one, we're basically at the start position again, right? And so what this allows you to do is basically have 100% uptimes with corrosive armor on your DPS in the Endless Archive, or if you were doing duos, if you're running around in PvP. I would also note having like a decisive front bar weapon would probably also help you with the ultimate generation. I'm using an ice staff here. If you're tanking in the Endless Archive, I would probably use a sword and board, just for the record. And literally, that's all you have to do. So again, I would recommend Blood Spawn. Crypt Cannon's vestments are absolutely essential. Arcasis works really well. A couple of infused potion cooldown enchants on your jewelry, and then make sure that you transfer the ultimate and then drink the potion. And that will allow you to keep 100% uptimes. The only downtime is basically the other person telling you when the duration of the ultimate is up, so that you don't transfer ultimate too soon and they don't get any, because they're not able or allowed to get any ultimate while that buff is up. But as soon as it's off, then you can transfer. And yeah, basically makes it where your DPS literally cannot die. What ideally they would do is put on Ring of the Pale Order, so their damage is then healing them, and literally like they can't die like that. I mean, unless they take a one shot during the 1 second or so it takes for them to notify you and you to transfer ultimate and them to hit their ultimate, or 2 seconds maybe. But yeah, it's just basically 100% uptime. And then all you need to do is build really survivable on your tank, and you can go as long as you want in the Endless Archive with this build. I will note that a couple of like sweatier players went for like, I don't know, I think it was 12 hours or more in the Endless Archive, and apparently at some point the damage stops ramping up. But towards the end, they were getting, the DPS did die several times, and it was kind of harder to res them. As far as I can tell, it's not really a problem for the tank to stay alive, although the tank was using Magma Shell, which is the other morph of this corrosive armor, which again prevents them from being able to die. But in theory, they should be able to stay alive fairly easily, or at least a lot more easily than the DPS, and then you can just transfer ultimate so the DPS can't die. And that's it. Now, if you are not a DK, and you're not on a DK, and you still want to do something like this, I mean, this will work with any ultimate. So if you have any sort of survival ultimate, corrosive armor costs 200. Many of the other ultimates cost that or less. And so, in various classes, there are some pretty OP ultimates that you could use. You could use like Gibbering Shield or something if you're an Arcanist, Bone Goliath if you're on a Necro, Vampire ult. All of those things would work very well with this build. It wouldn't quite make it like impossible for you to die, I don't quite think, but pretty close to it. So anyways, that is it. That's it for the build. I am doing another build video where I actually kind of go over how to set up your DPS, how to stay survivable. So look for that. It should be out this weekend, if not later on today. Appreciate you guys watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.